Hello loves, and welcome to this week's installment of OmMade Kitchen. As always, I'm your host Deepa. So today's episode, we are going to be approaching a recipe that starts with the humble potato. Potato is another ingredient that is so versatile and can be used so many different ways. So one of the biggest requests I always get when people are coming over for either brunch or breakfast at my house is one of my hashes. Now you can use pretty much any root vegetable that you have. I generally always have sweet potato, and carrot. And then if you like spice, you can add a jalapeno in, you can throw some corn in if it's in season, whatever your preference is, but it's a really great way to incorporate some grounding root vegetables into a great little breakfast treat. And as you know, you don't have to just eat breakfast for breakfast, so you can enjoy it as a dinner meal as well. So let's get started today. As I said before, you can use any root vegetables, but potato is gonna be one of the main ingredients. So I lucked out. One of my friends, Farmer Alex, had these beautiful, gorgeous little potatoes that I'm gonna be using. Another farm at the farmer's market had these lovely Japanese sweet potatoes, and Farmer Alex also had these beautiful carrots. So I'm going to utilize that, but you can really use any potato that you have available at your local store or your local farmer's market. So I like leaving the skins on my potatoes because a lot of the nutrition and flavors in the skins. Wow, look at these gorgeous purple potatoes. Thanks, Farmer Alex. And we're just going to be cutting little bite-sized pieces. Now this is a great one dish that you can make, or you can make smaller portions and do this as a side dish with a larger brunch meal. So I'm gonna turn the stove on, medium to high heat. Again, we wanna get the pan nice and hot before we add the oil. And the real secret to making this hash taste amazing is knowing your cooking times on the potatoes. So depending on what type of potato you use, you may want to adjust the order of what you put in first. Because I'm using these Japanese sweet potatoes, I'm gonna cook those first in the pan. Then I'm gonna add these carrots and purple potatoes. Because the purple potatoes are so fresh and they are so soft, they're not gonna take very long to cook. So if I put them all in at the same time, you're gonna get undercooked sweet potatoes and overcooked regular potatoes. So really the secret of the hash is the cooking times. So we have the pan heating up. I love using this wok style pan because it allows me to flip the potatoes and get a nice cook. We're gonna be using avocado oil. You can also use grapeseed oil or safflower, but avocado is my jam. Just making sure the bottom of the pan is coated. And we may add a little more oil as we cook. Potatoes tend to be something that need a lot of salt and they need a lot of moisture. So we don't want to dry them out. So we're gonna allow them to get enough oil and enough moisture. So we're gonna pop the sweet potatoes in. You always know you have the right temperature when you get that nice little sizzle sound. And we're actually gonna close it and let this steam just for a few minutes, maybe about 2 or 3 minutes. You can see that the heat already allows the steam. That's gonna start cooking the potatoes through so that when we add the other ingredients, we can still make sure that the sweet potatoes are partially cooked. So when I make this hash, I usually put about 20 different spices into this hash. So people are always asking me, what's your blend? How do you make this? And to be honest, that blend will come in the future, but I'm gonna show you a super easy hack that you can find at most stores. Bragg's makes a organic sprinkle, which has 24 herbs and seasonings. So now this is a great way to incorporate a lot of flavor into your dishes. So I'm gonna be using this today in place of the 20 or so spices that I generally use. And I'm gonna be adding a little bit of chipotle powder for smokiness. Gonna be adding a little bit of garlic powder, a little bit of onion powder, and then we're gonna have coconut aminos and a little bit of apple cider vinegar in the dish as well. So the potatoes have been cooking just for a few minutes. So we're gonna cover these for just a few more moments, maybe about 2 minutes, before we add in the other ingredients. So the sweet potatoes have steamed for about 5 minutes, and I stirred them maybe once or twice just to make sure that none of them burned. Now we're gonna add these beautiful purple potatoes from Farmer Alex. Thank you again, Farmer Alex. And I am gonna add a little more oil on the top just to make sure that the potatoes don't get dried out. And again, just a little bit. And now we're gonna start with our seasonings. So I'm gonna add that 24 herb and seasoning blend. I'm gonna give it a good shake. We're gonna add garlic and onion to taste. A little bit of black pepper and a good helping of salt. And now we're gonna add those beautiful carrots on top. Look at these colors. Talk about eat with your eyes. And now if you wanted something a little spicier, this would be a perfect time to chop up a jalapeno. Again, same, the green color will add a nice little pop and it'll be a little spice. You could also add any other veggies you really like. And now here's the secret, because you really do want to make sure that it cooks through because you don't want it to taste vinegary. I'm going to take a capful of apple cider vinegar and actually we're going to take 2 capfuls and sprinkle it over the veggies. A little bit of coconut aminos for a little salty sweet. We're going to let this cover and cook. We're gonna turn the heat just down a little bit. We are gonna uncover it halfway through the cooking process just to make sure the outside of the veggies still stay crispy. We're gonna start making a really good sauce. If you know me, you know that I'm the sauce queen. I love making sauces. I love just experimenting with different things. And realistically, I'm gonna be honest, I pretty much just make food so that I have something to dip my sauces in. So we're gonna be making a cheese sauce that I like to make. It has like a mustardy, cheesy flavor. I wouldn't say it's a hollandaise, but I definitely do make a vegan hollandaise too. And if that's something that you guys want, I would love to share that sometime too. But today we're gonna do this, let's call it a creamy mustard sauce. Adding vegan sour cream. You can use vegan yogurt. You can make your own cashew cream. You can add coconut cream, but you just need something creamy as the base. I'm gonna turn the stove on low heat. We're gonna add water to thin out the sour cream. Give it a nice stir. Gonna add about half a cup, so it's about 4 tablespoons of nutritional yeast. We're gonna add a nice healthy squeeze of, I'm using a German mustard, but you can use a whole grain mustard. So we're gonna put about half a tablespoon of mustard. And you can add any salt you'd like. I am gonna be using black salt like I normally do. I love the way it tastes in my cheese sauces. And again, just letting it cook down on low heat. A little more black pepper. I'm gonna actually add 2 more tablespoons of the nutritional yeast because I do want the sauce to be a little thicker and to have that nice mustardy, cheesy flavor. If you want to add a little more earthiness, a little pinch of turmeric for great, beautiful yellow color and also for a little bit of extra earthiness. Oh, that steam. Yeah. So now I do not want I want the moisture to start evaporating from the veggies. So I'm gonna give it a good stir. You're gonna turn the heat back up to about 4. And now we want the veggies to start drying out. So we're letting the veggies go and we're gonna go back to working on the sauce for a second. So the sauce is turning this beautiful yellow color from the turmeric, and we are gonna add about 2 teaspoons of potato starch just because I want the sauce to be a little thicker. Now, I have the mixture warming up on the stove still. I've turned the stove off, but in order to make a smooth sauce, we want to take a little bit of water, mix the potato starch into the water first, and create something called a slurry. And now that it's not on the heat, I'm gonna add it in to the sauce. We're getting a nice crispy crust on the potatoes, which is meaning that they're gonna be cooked through on one side and a little softer, and then you're gonna get that crisp bite of the slightly charred potato. So we're gonna add our final round of spices, a little bit more of the Brags, not as much as we did the first time. And this time we're gonna add a little bit of chipotle powder because I want the potatoes to be a little smoky, and we're gonna top them with an avocado so that richness of the avocado and then the smokiness of the potato is gonna be amazing. So I have a chipotle powder that I'm dusting onto the potatoes. We're gonna add more salt because potatoes also need a lot of salt. If you were making this for a huge group of people or you were gonna have a little get together, This would be a great thing that you could put into the oven and roast in a huge sheet pan. Again, you would do kind of something similar where you'd put some spices in the beginning and then some halfway through. I like my potatoes on the stove. I don't really have the patience always to wait 45 minutes in the oven. So you'll get the potatoes in about half the time if you do it on the stove. Gonna get a nice stack of potatoes here. Oh, look at that steamy goodness. So I'm gonna top this, because why not? With this freaking beautiful, perfect avocado. I'm gonna get a little drizzle of nutritional yeast for a little extra cheesy flavor. Last but not least, the best part, that beautiful cheesy mustardy turmeric sauce. See, that potato starch added a nice thickness to it. And I don't know about you, but I'd be pretty happy with this for a brunch dish. Oh my God, the smokiness of the chipotle and this delicious sauce, so good. Don't forget, the secret ingredient though, is always still love.